So rather than diving straight into what you have here, I just thought I'd start from the beginning. Meaning, like,
Yeah.
so where are you from?
Yeah, no, I mean, I grew up in a military family, so it's like a pretty typical Filipino-American setup.
Okay.
Mom's a nurse, dad was in the Navy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the military stuff, just...
That has some familiarity.
Yeah, exactly. And then American dream for the family, and first
cool.
kid to graduate from college in the U.S. sort of thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Go out there and get a car, get a mortgage,
Well, you're doing
have a
well.
life, do all that. I skipped all that and just did a gap year. 15 years later, I'm still in my gap year.
Oh, okay.
So,
A gap year from your
Yeah.
college, or?
yeah, from college, I finished school early. So instead of doing the 4-year track, I did 3.
Oh, okay.
But most of that time, I was like second year college. I was in Argentina, and in the summer after, I was in Argentina. And the summer before, I was in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
So I had the travel bug. Went back to California to finish my degree, and then after I finished my degree, ended up just going to Korea, and I started teaching English there.
What was your degree in?
International relations.
Oh, so you kind of, I mean, that's kind of a travel-related type of degree, or?
Kind of. I mean, I figured I would have made it work. Like, there's jobs outside of travel internationally, and then education was good enough because I could get my vacation, and then the cost of living and stuff in Korea, you make like $3,000 a month, and spend $1,000 a month.
Oh, Korea's a lot cheaper.
It's pretty cheap. I mean, with the contracts, you always get housing. So, I mean, that's like 30-40% of most people's budget anyways.
And that's the teaching English?
Yeah, that was teaching English. And then after that, I left, and I wanted to get out of these ESL schools and kind of step up into international schools. So I ended up going to the Philippines to take my master's. It's just cheaper
Master's in?
in education.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. So from there, I got a job offer in Saudi Arabia, of all places.
I know about Saudi. I know about Saudi.
That's a place.
Yeah, and that's a place.
No, and I went out there for 3 months, and then it wasn't my cup of tea. Me and Saudi didn't agree on a lot of things.
I mean, you don't have to share too much, but what didn't...
I was a practicing Christian. I
Yeah.
liked women.
Yeah.
I liked beer. Those
Fair
are all
enough.
no-goes there.
Fair enough.
And it's pretty outgoing at the time, right? So I left, but I was talking to Camille, and we were chatting, and I was falling in love with her, you know. So I ended up just quitting my job and telling everyone I'm gonna go after this girl that I'm getting married to.
Awesome.
Yeah, it took some convincing, and then we finally got together. So the rest of the school year, the remaining 6 months, I was just in the Philippines hanging out, trying to get a job. Of course, I think this guy blacklisted me from a bunch of international schools because I quit the school out there.
I've heard that happens.
Apparently it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right. I'm not in education anymore.
Right, yeah.
So it worked
So it
out
worked
for
out.
me. No, and then after that, I went to Shanghai. Was there for 4 years. Camille came a year after I went there, and we had gotten married. And then for 3 years, we were hanging out in the big city.
What were you doing in Shanghai?
I was teaching. So I was at international school out there, and then she was interior designing. She started baking as a side hustle, and then tutoring, and we saved a bunch of money. That's when we started investing in single-family homes. So we were doing, the last 2 years, we were doing every 6 months, we would purchase a property. And then we got to 4, and then fired the bosses, took the bonus, traveled for 16 months, and then...
What do you mean fired the boss?
Just quit.
Oh.
Not quit.
Yeah, I get you.
We left. Like, we were at the end of contract, and I was like, all right, I'm not renewing. And then after that, we went to the U.S. for 3 months, and then we went to East Africa, and then we split our time between Kenya and Tanzania. Went back to the Americas.
Just strictly travel?
Just travel. And then we started Guatemala all the way down through Central, and then into Colombia and Ecuador for 9 months, more or less.
Wow.
And we ran out of money. Which was fine. We budgeted 12 months.
Okay.
We hit 16, I think.
So, okay, so, but you had the properties at that point?
We had the properties.
Okay, so you had some income.
Yeah, but like the cash flow, we were doing like $200 per house, per door, right? So it's not like that was going to carry us through.
I got you.
And then I ended up getting a job in Austria at an international school there. So we packed our bags and turned around.
Also teaching English?
Teaching, yeah. So I was going to set up a program there at a smaller school. And they were Central Europe is just more strict on visas than the rest of the world, I guess. So we had a long time trying to get the visa, and then while we were working on getting the visa, we were in the Philippines to get her documents and mine. We came out to the El Nido, and then we ended up selling an apartment that we had in the city, like a condo.
Okay.
And we moved that. Well, we're like, wow, we've got money again. Should we adult or should we travel? We ended up adulting, and this is the version of adulting.
Right.
So we purchased the property based on the budget that we had.
Okay.
And then...
And do you mind talking a little bit about your property, like square meters and what you
I don't know what square meters are.
square feet.
Square meters, it'd be 2,000 square meters on a hillside.
Okay.
So it's pretty small. It'd be like an acre. Is it 2.5 acres to a hectare?
Yeah, 2.5. I'll do the math later.
Yeah, Americans aren't that great at math.
Yeah,
That's
they
fine.
won't know. I'll put up.
But
a
anyways,
little screen.
yeah. So then we ended up building the house up, but we didn't like. My mom and dad, they were kind of like, "Well, what's the game plan here? You guys are traveling. Get a job." Fair enough, right? Like,
Yeah. Before, what was the price you got for the square? If you don't have to say it,
like $20 per square meter. It was like 50,000
okay.
for the property.
U.S.
U.S.
Awesome. Well, they see the view. So it's spectacular.
Yeah, but that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
At this
okay.
point, it's funny because we were looking at Facebook and they showed us memories. Of course, memories.
Yeah.
And we had all the scaffolding in the house. And we're like, this is crazy. We did that. So mom and dad were like, what are you guys doing? So they came over and they're like, you're just on the beach. They're seeing photos. And
I mean, when you bought it, did you have like the plan for roughly what you were gonna do?
no one has a plan for something like this.
Okay, I don't know.
We just kind of, we knew we were in the right zip code because
Yeah.
we saw the development and we figured it would take a while. I didn't think it was going to be this slow. The development's been pretty slow here.
Yeah.
There's the one complex out there with like McDonald's.
Right,
McDonald's, they invest in
So 6 years ago, what's the name of this little cove or this beach here? Marimigme?
Meg. Well, I mean, most people refer to it as Las Cabañas because the hotel at the corner was here a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
It's just easier for foreigners.
When you got here, was this as developed as it is? This beach here?
No, so like the white building isn't there. The Cubos, the native types, were down there, and then the Las Cabañas hotel was there.
Oh, okay.
And then everything else was just starting.
Oh, okay.
That hostel wasn't there. These villas weren't there. None of that was there.
Oh, wow.
But even seeing it now, it's not like it's overdeveloped yet. It's not Phuket or
Right. Okay. Yeah.
other places.
But it is kind of. I mean.
It'll
it's-
start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's starting.
It's beautiful. I think
Yeah.
that first stretch of beach
Yeah.
is really beautiful, and then you get to more still less developed, but
Yeah, and then you can keep going and it gets even less developed.
yeah, which is awesome for tourists because they're not going to get that. They're still going to see nature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for now.
For now, yeah. It'll grow more. I think
It'll grow
It's
more.
too beautiful. It'll attract.
Yeah,
Too
so we're kind of, so we told our parents we were just going to build a house on the hilltop. The problem was I had no background in construction or the Philippines or local government.
So this was just like you're
like,
building a personal house for a dream, paradise living type of deal.
Yeah, well, we thought about doing like a bed and breakfast because Camille's an interior designer.
Yeah.
I wanted more doors and real estate. So that kind of made sense in terms of putting it together for the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up getting 3 platforms together at the same time and then just putting a tent up because we thought that would be the cheapest way. It was, but then just all the issues with living in the jungle in the tropics, we had to make improvements. So we learned pretty fast.
Okay.
We ended up spending a lot more than we should have, but I think that's just the case with Americans moving to the tropics thinking they know what they're doing. They don't.
Yeah. Everything is a learning experience.
It's fine, So we started with 3 tents and we were priced at like $50, and then we ended up developing the other side of the property. So going up the property, everything on the left side was developed, and then everything on the right side, we didn't know what to do because of the slope. It looked so steep from the stairs. We're like, no one would put a building there.
Right.
Yeah, we did. So,
Figured it out.
yeah, well, we were hosting upstairs in the house, and that kind of became an issue for us because we were just tired of having people in the house all the time, like all the time.
Right.
You know, I'm not a morning person, so I'd wake up and there'd be people in the house,
Yeah.
having breakfast.
Yeah, that's I like my space too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we knew it was like the sacrifice. Okay, that we're gonna do this for a year, and so we ended up building the restaurant plus a fourth and the fifth unit, and that's where you guys are staying. We did a better build on that one. Restaurant. We didn't really want to have a restaurant. Like, food game is kind of difficult.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know anything about it, but
Yeah, just a lot of numbers and a lot of human resources and a lot of things that you got to keep an eye on. And this is our first one, but then of course people started coming up because we had such limited inventory that we were always full.
Okay.
Like last year we did a 93% occupancy, or this was pre-pandemic. So the year before the pandemic we were doing like 93% occupancy, and then we were doing like 9,000 pesos a night,
Wow.
which is
awesome.
$180.
Yeah.
And they were full. There's no air conditioning, there's no hot water, there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And people know what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
But what we did was we pushed everybody away that didn't want to be here in the first place. So if someone's asking us a bunch of questions during the booking process, we're like, well,
So it
there's
might
none
not
of
be
this,
for
there's
you.
none of that. Oh, by the way, it's like a kilometer from the road. It's 800 meters.
Right.
Plus the uphill battle that people, do or don't want to do. So then we filter out a bunch of the complaints, and then the people that really want to be here, they're here. And most of them would be like adventure travelers, middle, upper class, more educated. Some of them would be interested in the eco stuff. So that kind of setup works for that type of guest profile. And most of them were European, North Americans, Australians as well. The Filipino market we never really dabbled into because it just, we didn't need to, I guess.
Sure.
And now we're kind of shifting towards that.
Because of the pandemic.
Because of the pandemic. And it's been like a pleasant surprise for us, and I think for that market, to kind of see what we have. It's very private at the moment.
How did how initially and then how now did you do your marketing? How'd you get known?
Well, so this beach wasn't that popular until a few years ago. Because when you go up north off the highway, like from the highway, you don't see this beach. Like even our first time here, we didn't know this beach existed.
Right.
We were looking for land, and our lawyer was like, "Oh, you got to check this other area out. There might be something there that's kind of cheaper."
Oh, okay.
So we did. I mean, people
Was
will
that
know
your
nothing.
lawyer? But was it like a real estate person?
No, he's just like the guy checking our papers.
Oh, okay.
That's where we did our due diligence and through Puerto Princesa.
Oh,
You probably know.
maybe.
I'm sure you do.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, so like everyone knows Leo Beach and Nakpan Beach,
Yeah.
but Marimegmeg was kind of number 3 on the radar.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot more popular
Yeah, I
because
think I came here 6 years ago. We didn't know about this at all.
yeah, and now that this is here, like I think this is the best neighborhood, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just this trip we were exploring like El Nido proper and I forget the name of the
Leo or Nakpan.
Nakpan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is it, man.
It's a soft landing, but you get everything that you need. Like it's a good swimming beach. You get turtles off the shoreline.
Yeah.
You get a long coastline if you just want to go for a 5-kilometer jog.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
There's
And
a lot of
it-
stuff.
I don't know about further on the beach, but the beach part section we stayed on, there was no knickknacks here.
Yeah, there's no nickname.
Which is awesome because we went to Nakpan
Yeah.
and we got bit up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get torn up
Plus
in the
this,
north.
this view is spectacular. So
Yeah, the view. As long as you get Buckwood Bay and any of the islands, like
yeah.
you're gonna have a nice view. People are always like, "This is the best view in El Nido." I'm like, probably not.
Yeah, well, yeah, true.
Like, take a look at any of these overlooking properties. Of course, it's a matter of perspective once you where the islands are. But this has been the office for, and this is where I sit,
Right.
poke computer, you know.
Right.
So we slowly expanded. The marketing side just kind of took care of itself, because like if you only have 3 and then people will look at the view and then kind of go down the rabbit hole, and then they'd find a bunch of stuff. At the time, like the first couple of years, we were vlogging before. So during our 16-month trip, it was like our honeymoon. So we called it 365 travel dates.
Oh, okay.
And it's not like an active account now, but there's like an Instagram there. And it kind of just journeyed us through, and then I started writing, travel writing for Rappler. And Rappler was a good, like we've got our entire story in Rappler.
Oh, really?
They gave us like a platform to just be able to tell some of our story, which was nice. And then from there, Instagram kind of took off. And then Instagrammers started coming up to take a picture of a hammock. And then that was kind of bothersome, because that's not our whole approach on tourism.
Gotcha.
The way Camille designed the property, she just wanted this whole idea of slow travel, kick your feet up,
Nice.
enjoy a good book, and
Heck yeah,
there's
man.
like spaces everywhere for people to lay around.
I didn't open a computer or phone this whole time. I just enjoyed the nature sounds and the beautiful view. It's awesome.
Yeah. So for us, it was just an intimate space. Like the restaurant was an intimate space for guests, and pretty much it was like this. There's no one ever in, and then slowly people would start coming up. And after like 6 months or a year, we were like, oh, this is going to be a thing. So we hired a restaurant consultant. He stayed in-house for a year, and he's one of our friends. So, you know, we got along really well, and he did pretty good. And then I think a few months in, because of our online presence, we ended up getting shot up into #1 on TripAdvisor for the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
But we also didn't think there was a lot of restaurant game in El Nido. There's just not like there's a handful of decent restaurants, right?
Right.
So with TripAdvisor, it was a lot of European, North American. It's like your foreign travelers. I don't think Filipinos use TripAdvisor as much. They might,
Yeah, I don't know.
but definitely the North Americans, the Europeans use it quite heavily. So that kind of boosted us, and then slowly, I guess word of mouth. There would be a lot of word of mouth. We would ask people where they found us. You know, people on the boat had told us, or my friend had been here, or my friend checked in, or we tried to book we had tried to book a room with you guys, but we were booked. So they come in for a meal. But what was also nice with this small space, it's a 9-table restaurant. Like I could sit down, like Valentine's Day yesterday. You know, I talked to every table just to see how everything was. And you could do that with a small restaurant.
Right.
So we always wanted it to be just quite intimate.
Yeah.
You know, I don't ever think we would have like 100-seater.
Right.
That's not what we're trying to do.
Right.
So from there, you know, we ended up, after we finished the restaurant, I ended up starting the town's tourism magazine. So it grew. You know, we had the circulation.
What's that called?
Estel. So it's an acronym, ESTEL. And it stands for, well, we were trying to have it stand for Eco-Sustainable Tourism, El Nido, and the more we learned about sustainability, we realized there's no sustainable tourism model that's being put in, not just in El Nido, but just in general. So then it was duly Eat, Sleep, Tour, El Nido, and we just put a bunch of stuff in there. Of course, we put ourselves in like prime real estate on the magazine.
Good idea.
You know, hopefully the
concept.
product justifies you know, people coming up.
Oh yeah, I'd
But-
recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so if it sucks, let us know. We'll
No.
try to fix it. If it doesn't, we're happy. But you know, we're still trying to improve. We're not content with where we're
Well,
at.
and like you said, like you know, I wouldn't recommend it to like certain people that
Yeah, right.
don't want to be in nature and
Yeah.
don't like to hike and up a hill and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
people like me would love it. So.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why you're here,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, you've got a family,
Yeah,
so
they had a blast. Yeah.
to have kids up here, of course, I've got my wife and I. We've got our own kid, and so you know, we want it to be a good enough space that our kid could run around.
Yeah.
And if our kid could run around, mind you, he's a bit of a jungle kid.
Right.
Other kids should be able to do the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Cool.
You got more on there?
Yeah, I got I got various things.
No,
So,
you're-
So okay. So I guess so. I'm trying to reach like I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it on video, but I'm trying to reach Americans that are stuck in a mindset that's like 9 to 5. Retire at 67 on their 401k, and I don't like for a lot of people. I don't think something like this seems possible, but So you mentioned you didn't necessarily start this with a ton of savings, right?
No, we had saved enough to build a portfolio of assets.
And you can be as detailed with your numbers as you want. I kind of try and give people. I'm trying to on this channel give people more like gritty details so they can. It's not supposed to be like a inspirational channel so much as it's like a practical approach. So say what you want to say about your numbers and stuff like that.
I think we're looking at like $100,000, $120,000 single family homes.
Okay.
20% down would be $25,000, and if you're doing that every 6 months, that'd be like $4,000 a month. We were able to save that overseas, so that was something where we're like, okay, we'll build our assets. This
morning, fellas.
Morning. How are you guys?
And you guys are good.
Sorry.
No.
We ended up picking up 4 houses, just doing the down payments every 6 months, and that to me worked out. Now I'm to where I'm just doing 15% down and just taking the leverage and letting inflation eat it away.
And your initial capital, did you save that while you were working?
Yeah, while we were teaching.
ESL, and like you said, they're paying for your housing when you're
pretty much
ESL, and most contracts.
I mean, the only thing that we had to pay for was like food and travel.
Okay.
So in Shanghai, you could eat as much or eat as cheap, or there's easy ways.
So working overseas on a contract like ESL or whatever, it's a great way to save money.
Yeah. Well, and then you're in China, so you've got like tiger moms that are willing to pay whatever amount per hour just to get their 4-year-old extra tuition.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Which
good way to make money.
It's a good way to make money. You just don't feel good having these kids stuck in your house doing extra hours.
Right.
So that kind of worked out for us, and then from there we had budgeted an extra amount for the travel, and on the travel we budgeted $100 a day for a year, so it was $36,000.
Okay.
The contract that I had, most of the bonus was probably half of that already, so we only had to come up with another 18 or 20,000 over like 2 years of saving. Well, that wasn't that hard to do. And then we traveled. We ended up running out of money, like I mentioned, but then we had these assets. It's just I don't want to always just sell stuff unless we're trading up. So we thought that a condo in Manila could be traded up to, raw land in El Nido. So we bought this property, and then from there we ended up moving some other assets. Like we bought in Atlanta in 2012.
Oh,
so you can kind of understand like where we were. Like we bought a $60,000 house, and it went up to like 130 or 120. Awesome. And we didn't even want to sell it. It's just the lady, the tenant at the time was just like, I've got a 0 down financing, so like I don't care what you charge me on the house. So we threw a random number that was way higher. She took it, and I was like, I guess we got rid of that. So then we put it into the house plus these tents. Once we started making money on the tents, we went from $50 to $60 to $70, and we just kept putting it back in.
Nice.
The plan was through last year we would have finished our 9th unit, but we would have done 4 rooms plus the 5 glamping.
Are you talking about these units that are like?
Yeah, these are gonna be like rooms.
Okay.
Like air conditioning and like
Nice.
So the plan was to finish that and then move to the farm.
Gotcha.
The farm, we don't know where the farm is. We're still looking for the farm. On the personal finance side, it was pretty easy because we didn't have any debt. I didn't have any student debt either.
Awesome.
I went to Pepperdine
on scholarship or?
Nobody gets like a full scholarship on debate. It's not basketball.
Okay.
But like it got me in, and then we were able to pay for the rest.
Okay.
So from there,
and then you mentioned getting your master's in the Philippines.
Yeah, it was like the same price as like one class at Pepperdine.
Right.
So
what do you remember the price roughly what that would be?
Oh, I don't know, $5,000 maybe.
Oh wow, cool.
It's pretty cheap. I started at Philippine Normal, which was a teacher's college, and per credit it was like I don't know, $10, $20.
Awesome.
And then I shifted into LaSalle because it was just a faster, because they did trimester.
Do you feel like getting, like if a foreigner, American or something, got did their masters or something in the Philippines, is it accredited? Is it recognized and all that stuff the same way? Or?
Nobody's ever asked me in an interview.
Oh, interesting.
That's the thing. Like, you can get a master's with a thesis or non-thesis. No one's gonna ask you, did you write your thesis?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, I've never heard
They
that.
just, oh, you get a master's.
Hey, you've got a master's. Like, cool. Like, we'll bump you up on the pay scale.
I get
Oh,
you.
that was easy.
Awesome.
So instead of doing like the 100,000 debt for my MBA,
Yeah.
I threw 5,000 down on like a smaller one. That,
Yeah.
You know,
Awesome.
no one knows what school I went to,
Yeah, man.
so it worked out.
That's good information.
Well, I don't like. There's in the States. There's this perception, I guess, in a lot of places that like there's that network that you pay into and stuff. But like during pandemic, it's not gonna matter. Like, no one's like, "What's your resume like? Can you do the job?"
Yeah, right.
Like, that's all anyone's gonna ask. I think.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, I don't have a resume, and if I tried to apply for a job, people would be like, "So it shows you're a janitor of a campsite. I don't. What are we doing here?"
Yeah, yeah. I know. I doubt that.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, you got a pretty unique resume there. That's for sure.
I mean, I guess, like, if I went to the States, I'd, like, work Homeland Security or something where there's intercultural communication involved or consultation on, like, how to deal with Filipinos or... I don't know, man. Like, we're not thinking about that. We're not going that route.
Right. So yeah, I guess getting educated abroad, like in a place like Philippines, it's a pretty cool idea for somebody who's maybe looking for their first excursion outside of America, wants to open their eyes.
The Philippines is a pretty soft landing.
Now, did you have to? Was it in English? Your education here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what's nice here. Everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
And, like, classes are all taught in English and stuff.
Yeah.
So...
And your cost of living outside of the classes you were taking, was it?
Pepperdine's in Malibu.
No, I mean,
Manila's going to be a lot cheaper than Malibu.
No, I just wanted to.
It was like, you know, at the time, like, I remember I went to Cambodia and the beer was like 25 cents.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
happy
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah,
It's pretty happy.
yeah.
And so we'd do that. And then when we were traveling, like on our 16-month trip, we found a place that we'd like, we'd just go we'd knock on doors and ask people if there's like apartments for rent.
Okay.
And we did that when we were in Panama. We found a spot for like $800 for like 40 days.
Oh,
And we had a friend come in and sublet the other room. So basically we were paying like $10 a day.
nice.
Is what it ended up being. So it's easy enough. You can make the numbers work. But I'm also not spending on a bunch of other stuff, you know. We just prefer to have experiences.
Yeah. I hear you. Cool, man. So what do you do for fun out here?
What do I do for fun? Before I had a kid, it would be like beaching 2 or 3 times a day. I'd usually hit right in front of Vanilla. I'd go out and snorkel. There's usually turtles there, and then I'd come up for lunch, poke the keyboard a few hours, and then go down for a beer for sunset, and then come back and then poke the keyboard for another hour, and then do dinner, go for a jog.
And now you got a world-class CrossFit right at.
And we've got a world.
Right.
Yeah, we've got the CrossFit. I do that once in a while. But just running up and down. I mean, having a kid is like, I'm still transitioning to being a dad.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you're too busy for fun now. You got a business. And
It's
a kid.
all fun.
What can you do? Yeah, it's all fun.
Now it's a pain in the ass because like I'm sitting working online just to pay salary because like this tourism game isn't working out, which is fine. But we're also conceptualizing the next business. So I'm running around on the island just talking to friends that want to align and like mess around with other, you know, enterprises. And then I'll take my kid down for a couple hours a day. Probably like usually I'll work for a couple hours and then run down and then sit on the beach with him for an hour or two and then come up for lunch. And then after that, poke the keyboard a little bit more.
So you were conceptualizing the next business, the sustainable permaculture farm.
Yeah.
Farming. And when you're looking at your next steps, and now you got a kid, so you're probably looking further ahead, right? Do you see yourself like staying here? Like
Yeah, as long as boss is happy, then we're good to go with whatever. We'll end up. So we know that we've got a kid. We know that we're going to at least homeschool. There's a pretty good group of people that are already here and families that are already doing that. So there's like a Waldorf school, an outdoor wild school, unschooling setup.
Cool.
And what we want to do on the farm is to just look at what our lifestyle is going to be. So like we want to produce livestock, we want to export smoked beef and have organic vegetables and composter, whatever, everything, right? And then just kind of be off the grid. Our primary concern at this point is food security and shelter. Once we cover that, then anything else is excess. We'll take the excess and then just throw it into another project that's quite similar. We'll probably end up just having the school there within the farm, and there's enough families there that, you know, there's extra eyes on the kids, and then, you know, they'll have their science class and their math class and their business class, and we think that's going to be better than the traditional
No doubt. No doubt.
model.
Do you have any thoughts on, like, are you gonna travel with your kids a lot? I mean, do you introduce them to different cultures? Or
Yeah, I mean, like,
considered at all?
yeah, it's just the idea of travel is a little bit different. But I mean, we had the idea, like, man, I could step out of my door and that's travel, and then just turn left instead of turning right. And with the way El Nido is,
Yeah.
there's so many places to travel.
Oh, for sure.
And there's people to meet. Are we gonna get on the plane? Maybe, maybe not.
No, I guess what I'm asking is because I've got two kids also in Palawan, and my thought is, like, for now, I think the age they're at, and for the next 5 years, I mean, my son's almost 5. I think it's an awesome place.
Yeah.
You know, culturally for kids, and kids are playing outside. You know, not everyone's glued to their devices and things like that.
Yeah.
But as they get older, I just want them to sort of witness some differences, some alternative cultures.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, do you think about that far ahead?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll have that like elementary age covered, and then by then, I think he'll have a mind enough to just be curious about other things, and if he's curious about those other things, we'll help facilitate that curiosity.
Gotcha.
Now, if that means going into the city, he could go into the city, and like, you know, the times that I feel like we would say that's a no-go for him is where it's something of safety or danger.
Sure.
But if it's just like, you want to check that out? Well, let's go check that out.
Cool.
We don't want to dictate the education in the sense that we're like, okay, here's your liberal arts degree.
Right.
Like, I know you hate math, but like, there it is.
Do it anyways.
Do it anyways. Our whole idea of education is unstructured playtime.
Awesome.
Because there's a lot of self-discovery. Now, we've thought about that a lot. I ended up finishing half a master's in educational technology. And so the idea of technology intersecting with, you know, English is a language in terms of what I was teaching. We realized that the best way to really facilitate the learning was to just kind of give them time to figure things out on their own without like forcing a curriculum.
Cool.
Now that could change, and I could be completely wrong about my view on education, which is fine. At least we're open enough to unlearn.
Well, yeah. I mean, I from what I witnessed with my own kids, I agree with you. Although I never thought about it in those terms. I mean, they seem to thrive when it's unstructured playtime, even if it's something that's, you know, educationally related.
Yeah, your
They're
kid
having
is
fun.
birding right now, by the way.
Is he what?
He's birding right now. He's like
Nice.
geeked out on that.
Hey, buddy.
Just give them stuff to look at. I don't know, man. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? To break a couple bones. They'll learn from that.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
See anything cool?
Yes, it's
Awesome.
so close.
Yeah.
I see it. I see there are burgers mountains.
Oh, he's fine. We're concluded. We're just.
Man, you just message me if you have any questions. Like,
Yeah. Awesome, man.
We're
Thanks.
just figuring it out, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we all are.
I think we all are.
Cool.
You have a good time, buddy?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a good place for the kids, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a good community too, and they're already there in terms of like where they're at on the education spectrum and how they want to educate their kids.
Oh, good.
You know, like assessments. We're not worried about assessments. You
Right,
think
right.
college is gonna be like, what was your SAT score? Like 20 years from now? Come on, man.
I hope not. Yeah.
And even if they do, like, he's still gonna be a star. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And a much broader thinker, I think, than the curriculum style.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow. So.
Huh, cool, man. Well, you've opened my mind too,
Yeah.
because I've been a little bit stuck on the, working real estate, retire. But you've kind of just taken a vision of, a property and turned it into something that's an awesome lifestyle and a business.
It's lifestyle design.
Yeah.
Like for us, just lifestyle design. And now we're not looking just at like the financial capital. We're looking at like other types of capital.
Sure. Yeah.
And that really shifted my mind. Like, do I really need this much stuff? Like, if I prepaid all my groceries on the farm
Yeah.
for the next 30 years, then I'm good, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've still got one foot on that paradigm of whatever U.S. finance, and
yeah.
so that's like the safety net. And I think we've given ourselves decent enough of a safety net,
Right.
if, like, for some reason food doesn't work out for us, or we went into this property thinking worst case scenario is the land will appreciate, and if we fail at the hotel game, that's fine, we just walk away.
Yeah. Which it has appreciated probably quite a bit. Yeah.
I think,
Mama,
what did
no.
we hear? So it was like 1,000 a square when we got it. Now it's saying like 10 to 15,000. That's
Wow.
over 5 years, 6 years.
Wow. That's an awesome appreciation.
That's on raw land.
Yeah, and then you've developed your
And then
land.
there's like, we put
And you've got the
tents
business, the business aspect of it. Yeah, you're sitting on a good bit of.
up. I think we'd be okay, because like even in my mind, no, I don't think we'll ever let go of this property. But
Yeah, why let go of it?
even in my mind, I was like, man, if I put this like $2 million property, I could just sit on cash flow off of a $1 million investment and just live off of it. Right? Like those numbers would work at
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
I think so. No, I could leverage it or not. But we'll see. Market's hot now.
Yeah,
Is it gonna crash?
I think so.
Should I just get cash ready?
No, you've got something good here. So.
No, I mean like,
But yeah, get cash ready.
and in 3 years, swoop it up.
Yeah, I think that's my plan. So we'll see if how it pans out. But I mean, the other problem with getting cash ready is the cash is losing value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my concern. I'm sitting heavy on cash, and I'm like, I can't get finance.
I think I'm trying to get heavy on cash in the short term, meaning the next few years, and I think the cash is going to lose a ton of value in the next decade.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to get heavy on the cash, and then when people are trying to liquidate their assets, swoop in, get some of those assets, and ride that inflation wave up as the cash loses value and the assets, inversely go up.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. We'll see.
And interest rates?
Yeah, they're gonna go through the roof in a decade. But if you
In a
can lock,
decade, but
if you
like-
can lock in a short rate in the next few years, I think you'll be okay. And I think they'll stay low.
That's for the next couple of years.
That's my hope.
Man, they have to push prices, slow prices now, right? Which means they have to increase rates. But they won't.
They're stuck. They can't do it until. I mean, they can't do it because it'll screw the economy. So until the economy is,
It's gonna
and
keep going.
yeah, it's gonna keep going bad. So who knows? I don't have a crystal ball.